Good morning everyone. Today I'll be showing you how to do automation for your Python scripts. Quite often we need to do things like scheduled jobs on a day-to-day basis, yet you don't want your computer to be on 24/7. So what you need is an AWS account and maybe a pre-made script of what you already have. Okay, things that you need to do. You need to know that AWS actually provide multiple different services. One of them is called Aws Lambda. It is a function as a service. The codes that you write your scripts on that to execute can be written in many languages. So what does function as a service means is like normally other scripts that you write, right, can be written in like a full-fledged web application, but quite often us as civil engineers, we just wanted something to work. So in this case, we can just turn it into a one function and let it execute every single time when you receive a certain information, and you just wanted it to process it and then just use it. Then there's also AWS Cloud Watch. The two main things that you can do is to monitor all your AWS services and manage them. However, there's another function that you can utilize in this case would be scheduling your jobs. So what I'll be showing you later will be how to schedule your jobs according to like maybe time, duration, things like that. Okay, just something that you need to know which we'll touch a bit on is on the IAM roles. So this one is basically like you have your own AWS account, but you wanted someone else to help you manage it. So you can create roles and users to set up which AWS services you would like your counterpart to use. But normally in this case, if you are using it for yourself, the IAM roles doesn't matter much. Okay, so let's start moving into the AWS services. Okay, on a brief note, assuming that you have already created an account through AWS, AWS means Amazon Web Services. So this is the kind of like a basic console, the initial console that you see. So you can see that actually there are so many different services listed here. There's the EC2, Lightsail, Lambda, Batch. During maybe the next few videos, I'll try to share a bit more on what kind of things are all these. So you can see that you can use a cloud service to do computation. You can do containers. You can store your data. So what will be in the next few videos, I'll try to touch a bit on S3. So S3 is something similar to your OneDrive. Okay, RDS is quite often you will hear this when you're using Power BI. RDS is also relational database systems. So in this case, RDS can be something like MySQL, Microsoft SQL, things like that. Okay, DynamoDB is something called NoSQL, and NoSQL is not called NoSQL. It's more like not only SQL. So this one, in the future, I'll try to give you an example of how to use the DynamoDB. Okay, I think maybe the wording is a bit small. Okay. And also, since today we'll be touching on CloudWatch, I'll show you what is CloudWatch later. Okay, and Lambda. So Lambda is a function as a service. So once you click into Lambda, right, this is your dashboard for the Lambda. This is telling me right now, this dashboard is telling me that I have already created roughly around 20 functions. The total amount of code that I have is around 19 MB. Concurrency means that certain functions you want it to run concurrently. Okay, this one I'll not go into detail too much. So as you can see here, these are the applications that I have in my current account. So what we'll be dealing now mainly will be the functions. So give you an example. Okay, so let's say remember when we say we want to write our Python scripts, we normally will write it on our own computer. So assuming that we wanted to migrate our Python scripts, we can actually migrate onto the cloud. Okay, so let's say I'm just going to create maybe I'll just use a hello world script that in this case most probably will be using Python with it lah. So they have already some basic templates on how can you configure your code. So in this case, I'll just select the one that is called hello world Python. Okay. So I'll just press configure. So once you press configure, right, it's just telling you that, oh, what do I want to name my function? So in this case, I call hello world test example. Okay, remember this, later we'll be using this as an example on the CloudWatch. Okay, like I mentioned before, there are actually many different execution roles. In this case, I have already predetermined to create a few. So in this case, I have done one that you can see that I have S3 access, Dynamo access, Amplify, EC2 access. So, or I can just basically create a role with just basic Lambda functions. I just press create. So what this create function is doing is now is trying to prepare your code, create a basic like a set of scripts for you to start writing your code. So in this case, you can see that there's a import JSON. This okay? Why does okay? So what you can do is there are libraries that you need to, assuming that you need to import some libraries. There's import JSON. You can also go and check Aws Lambda, what kind of basic default libraries do they have. From what I know, things like pandas, numpy is not included in the basic Python script. So what you need to do is you need to import this here, which I'll show in a separate video next time how to do this. Okay, so it's like, it's telling you to that this function is telling me that I need to load my function. And after that, this is the default way of how to write Aws Lambda, because it's technically like a back-end business logic service that you are writing. So in this case, what is an event? The event is like assuming that I have a test. A test means like if let's say there's some incoming JSON, you can use this to test. So in this case, it's written here that it's called key1 and value1. So assuming that I have an event that is called a key1 as a key there, this whole output will be called value1. Value1 equals to value1. So let's say right now I press test. Okay, so what you can see that value1 is equal to value1. Let's say I want to configure my event just to show you that there are some differences like kk test, kk test 2. Okay, then I press set. So test means basically I'm testing this function whether it's working or not. So I can just press test. You can see that the value 1 goes to kk test 1, so this thing has been updated. So this is just one of a basic example how we can utilize the function. So this is very similar to when you're writing your own Python script. You are pressing the execute the script function. Okay. So what you can do is, assuming that you have an AWS account, you can link this to multiple services. Like let's say you have a spreadsheet that you wanted to save, or you have some data that you want to process. You can always upload to maybe things like S3, things like that. Okay, so now I've created a function, right? So let's go to CloudWatch. So once they say the changes deploy, right, meaning that I have to, if there's any changes to my code, right, I have to press the deploy button, and after that the deploy you can test it out again. Okay, so let's say I created another one for, just copy paste the link, and we go to CloudWatch. Okay, when we are in CloudWatch, you notice that actually I do in my example I do have some codes that are written in DynamoDB, and they're helping me monitor. So in this case, you can see that actually CloudWatch, right, is to monitor all your services. It seems a lot daunting, and because there's a lot of things that is being used at the same time, or in this case my account has multiple stuff running at the same time, you can use this as a check. So let's say I have some of my EC2 instances. You can see that actually my website, which is CivilTEKK, as you can see here, it's actually hosted on AWS. So what this CloudWatch is doing is basically monitoring my usage of my web page. Okay, moving on, let's go into the scheduled jobs. Okay, so in this case, you see that actually I previously have created and tested out a cron job, or in this case a scheduled job. So what you can do is you can just create a rule. Okay, yeah, there are many options that you can choose from, but today we'll be looking into scheduling. So you can see that you can actually have a fixed rate of how often you wanted to do it, and you actually use a cron expression to determine how often do you need the job to be done. So you see that now, right now in this case, there's a fixed rate of 5 minutes. Let's change it to 1. So if I'm not mistaken, CloudWatch, cron jobs, these rules, events, you can only do bare minimum of 1 minute once lah. Okay, so like right now, this is the event source. So you are setting it as a schedule based on a 1 minute per event. Okay, so we can add a target. So what is adding a target? Just now we have created a lambda function, right? So this lambda function, what you can do is you can see now here, just now we have created a hello world test example. So what this thing is doing is that at every minute, the event that once I have hit every minute, in this case I think from 0, the first time I press configure details and submit, the first execution of the event will be done. Then 1 minute later, you'll notice that they will execute it another time. So notice that there are actually there are many things that you can actually do with this thing. You can even do a configure input where you select something from this sample event and try to match it. Because actually it's not just a scheduling, you can actually do a lot more, something like triggering events. When a certain event happens, then you match the time, then you can execute the lambda function again. So in this case, you notice that actually for the targets, right, there are many things that you can target. You can even target an virtual machine instance, a code pipeline. You can even send automated SMS queues, or if there's some other automations that you want. So let's say we just move into the very standard, we wanted to execute this function. Press configure details. Okay, so give a name to your rule-based jobs. So in this case, I say execute hello world every 1 min. Okay, I just create a rule. So notice that, okay, so there's a status bar here. So the gray one means that it has been disabled. The green one means it's currently executing. Okay, so a few minutes has passed. Going into an AWS Lambda function, so we go back into the function that we have created just now. What you'll notice that, okay, so just now we created a few functions. You notice that the invocations, there has been a few happening. You see this one is 247, while right now this one is 50. So a few invocations has been created. See? Every single minute it's happening once. So this goes to show that you can do your scheduled jobs that way. And during an event, that if let's say you choose to stop running your scheduled jobs, what you can do is just click on here, action, and disable it, and you're done. If you like this video, like this video, do press the like button down there. And if you want to see more me showing more of these videos, just click on the subscribe button. And if you have any ideas that you wanted to share, you can always just hit me up with a message. Thank you.